mean, this thing is, and it doesn't try to throw you. It does everything perfectly.
Oh my God, this car is ridiculous fast. Hey guys, welcome back to the BMW Blog YouTube channel and welcome to Florida. I'm actually this week at the Homestead Miami Raceway with BMW Motorsport USA. They're actually doing a shakedown on some of their classic racing cars, and we're here also to cover some new cars. Speaking of new cars, I'm inside the BMW M8 Competition Coupe, and the reason why I'm driving this car is because later in this video I'm gonna pick up Bill Auberlen, the BMW Motorsport driver, who's actually on the track right now with the BMW M8 GTLM, which is based on this car, and then he's gonna hop behind the wheel of this one and he's gonna tell me how does it feel to transition from a race car into a road car and then back into a race car, because he's gonna go back on the track later. But before I pick him up and I'm gonna let the pro tell you about the car and how it drives and all of that, I'm gonna give you my semi-pro opinion on the BMW M8, and I'm gonna start immediately with the design of the car. I still feel that the BMW M8 Coupe Competition, Convertible, whichever variant you want to look at, it's one of the best looking cars in the BMW current lineup. Of course, it's a massive car. It's a GT, it's a Grand Tourer. It is not your typical BMW sports car, but that's the nature of the BMW M8, and it's always been that way, even with the first generation E31 8 Series. So of course, when BMW came out with this car, I was quite excited because I expected a lot of performance, and the car delivers that. I expected a lot of luxury inside the car, and it certainly delivers that. And I expected a fun driving experience, but not overly M, if you know what I mean. And if you don't, allow me to explain. There's certain M cars that don't need to be too much of a track car. And what do I mean by that? M2s, M3s, M4s, of course, you can go on the track immediately with them and you could put down some impressive numbers without even doing any mods. But the M8, it's not a track car. It's really meant to be the perfect cruiser, a balanced M car that's comfortable over long distances. And if you want to have some fun like here, you can do that. So this is why I like the BMW M8. It's a very comfortable car. I've had this car over long distances, both in the US and in Europe as well. And every single time I came back impressed of what it can do, but mostly impressed of its daily drivability. So of course, it comes with a wide range of driving modes, from comfort to sport and sport plus, like any other M car, and you can change the character of the car quite a bit. Right now I'm riding in the sport and sport plus mode because that's what I usually do. But if you want to dial it down, you can simply go into the setup and you can go back and make the car feel a lot softer. And I can feel immediately that the car is completely different than what it was a few seconds ago. So now you can just relax, especially since it's flat in Florida, and you can just enjoy the car as it was meant to be. But if you want to change the character of the car, simply either use the M1 or M2 buttons right there. Right now I just changed the entire settings. I can feel the steering wheel a little bit heavier, suspension is a bit stiffer, and of course you might have heard that engine sound because the boost in the turbo just kicked in. And now, of course, you get a little bit more sound from the engine. There is some fake sound inside, of course, but that's the nature of new BMWs. Now let's talk a little bit about the specs, because nothing has really changed compared to the pre-facelift M8. This is the 2024 BMW M8 Competition Coupe facelift. So 4.4 liter V8 twin turbo makes 617 horsepower, 553 pounds-feet of torque, enough to take it from 0 to 60 in less than 3 seconds. Of course, you have to use the launch control. It uses the iDrive system, so essentially it's an all-wheel drive system, but with a rear bias. If you wanna drive the car only with the rear wheels, you can. All you have to do is deactivate the DSC, and then you can change into the two-wheel drive mode, which of course it will be a lot more fun, but also a little bit more dangerous. Let's push the car a little bit because I see a nice corner coming here. You know, downshifting from this ZF 8-speed automatic, which is great. Of course, a little bit of body roll. It's still a heavy car, 2.5 tons, so it is not on the lightweight side, but very composed, really nice to turn in. So of course, this is the part where I'm telling you that if you want to have some fun with this car, you can. Another thing that I love about this BMW M8 is the fact that nothing has really changed inside with the facelift. Aside from the fact that you're getting a slightly larger screen, 12.3 inches versus 10.3 or 10.9, I believe. Everything else stays the same. What do I mean by that? You're still getting the physical buttons. Thank you, BMW. Thank you for now removing those, because I've been complaining about this in every single new BMW that I've been driving lately. And it's so refreshing to just hop inside this car and everything feels familiar. I don't need to go into the menu. I don't need to go into the touch screen and do anything. Simply just operate the AC via switches and buttons and all of that. And there are plenty of them in this car. Of course, you got the 1 through 8 programmable buttons on the radio. So that's great as well. So nothing has really changed from the more analog cluster that we've seen in older BMWs. You're still getting iDrive 7, which of course it does look a little bit outdated, because, you know, if you look at the nice and shiny 8.5 or iDrive 8 or even 9, the UI has changed quite a bit. But I do love the simplicity of this system, the iDrive 7. It's snappy, it works really well. It's not overloaded with too many apps and too many features and too many settings. So if you want to find something, it's extremely easy. All you have to do is use the iDrive knob, because it still has one, so that's awesome. And then you have a simple menu on the left side: media, communications, navigation, car, and apps. Very simple, very legible, easy to access through the iDrive system. But of course, you can still use the touch screen if you want to, which I rarely do anyway. The other minor change inside is the steering wheel. You're getting a slightly different design on the bottom right here. This spoke, there is an opening right here. Very solid. I don't think a lot of people would actually notice this. You are getting optional carbon bucket seats. This one doesn't have them, and I'm happy it doesn't, because as much as I love the look of the carbon bucket seats, they're not very comfortable when you need to get in and out of the car quite often, as I do today when I need to change cameras, change angles, and all of that. So M Sport seats, really nice lumbar support. I can feel it right now. Really nice side bolster support. Those seats are really good in the M cars, and honestly, they're my first choice when it comes to M Sport seats versus carbon bucket seats. High quality leather, as you can see right here. It's got this beautiful red interior, and of course I call this the Superman spec, because if you look outside, I have the San Marino Blue color, and it just goes really well with this interior. It's a little bit wild, but I absolutely love it. Of course, you got a little bit of leather on the sides, of course on the dashboard as well. So it's a nice combination of black, red, and a little bit of grayish here and there. Brakes are great. I mean, this one comes with the carbon ceramic brakes, so it makes a huge difference. You know, turning in quite nicely. And he just literally just takes off. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, honestly, ridiculous fast. Even though this car it's labeled as a 4-seater, I would say it's more of a 2-seater, because as you can see, there is really no room behind me. I mean, literally, if there is, even a child wouldn't be able to see behind me. I'm quite tall though, 6'2", 6'3", to give you a reference point, but this is a car for 2 people. Of course, if you want to do short runs, maybe to the grocery store or somewhere with a third person, you could. But I absolutely do not recommend going on a long road trip with 3 or 4 people. And I do wonder how is this one going to work if you have any car seats and all of that, but that's beside the point. I'm aware that a lot of people might not care about the steering feedback in an M8, but of course I'm going to give you my opinion on this car regardless. So it's not your M2, M3 or M5, so it's a little bit softer. Of course, I'm assuming that's by design, because maybe customers in this segment don't want a very heavy or hefty steering. So of course it's meant to be a little bit softer. It does make probably driving in seat a little bit more comfortable, and overall it's a lot more comfortable than any other M car that I've been driving recently. The suspension, it's quite good. I mean, I was on a section of road where it wasn't very smooth, a lot of potholes and all of that, and the suspension was able to absorb those shocks. It does a really good job traveling over imperfect roads. Once again, it's a GT car, so it's meant to do that. No surprise there. I was in the sport mode, so even there, I felt like the suspension was quite adequate for that particular type of road. The driving position, it's quite good in the car. You're sitting very, very low to the ground. It's a driver orientation layout right here, something that BMW has been known for, and I'm happy that they keep this in certain products. You feel like in a cocoon right here. You feel connected to the car in many, many ways. Of course, the V8 engine, it's exactly what you expect from it. It just pulls really hard from very low RPMs. It matches perfectly with the ZF 8-speed automatic. We've talked about this in the past, which, by the way, it's very smooth, very precise shifts. It just goes perfectly well with this V8 engine. So really no surprise there. I mean, if you've driven this engine before, you kind of know exactly what to expect from the car. And despite being a very heavy car, because it has 617 horsepower, you'll never feel like the car is too sluggish for you. And I promise you that you can definitely push this car quite hard. With 3 variants available, of course, you might be wondering which one should I buy, the Convertible, the Coupe, or the Gran Coupe. But of course, it's not an easy answer because it really comes down to several factors. For example, if you live in Florida, absolutely get the M8 Convertible because weather. Now, if you live in Chicago, you're probably gonna narrow it down to Coupe versus Gran Coupe. And in my case, I'm always going to pick the 4-door M8 over the 2-door. One, because of practicality, of course, that makes a huge difference if you need to travel with more people. And then secondly, because it just looks better. To me, the Gran Coupe on the A series is just so beautiful. It reminds me in many ways of the 6 Series Gran Coupe, even though the design is completely different, but it just matches the size of the car, the dimensions of the car, the stance of the car, the entire package. So the Gran Coupe always has a very soft spot in my heart. So now it's time to go pick up Bill, and then I'm gonna let him tell me more about the car and his experience behind the wheel of this one, and then of course about the racetrack car as well. So don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. All right guys, so I picked up Bill in the BMW M8 Competition. First off, you just literally got off the track with the M8 GTLM, so let's just go right into it. Tell me any similarities between the cars and what are the major differences?
I mean, obviously, this is a long car, a big car. There's the track, the width. The width is not quite the same, but the wheelbase is the same. Yep. And it gives you that same feeling when you drive it. It is a prestigious, like, beautiful car when you drive it. This is literally one of my favorite street cars to drive, right? It's good on the street. It is amazing on the racetrack, right? If we were allowed to let this thing rip, the difference is this is 4-wheel drive. So this makes, tell me how much horsepower? 617 horsepower, yeah. Right? This is a rocket. This is a monster. And in the old days with 2-wheel drive, you could hardly hang on to this thing. Now, with 4-wheel drive, you blip the downshifts with your paddle, in luxury, right? You send it in, and you can just stand on this thing. And
nice.
And it absolutely goes.
Woo. I mean, honestly, it's quite composed for a car of this weight. I mean, it weighs over 2 tons, 2.5 tons actually. I mean, it's just a rocket. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I mean, this thing is, and it doesn't try to throw you. It does everything perfectly.
Turns in nicely. Look at that grip, man. I mean, the grip, I can even feel it from the passenger side.
I mean, and the sound, it's cool. You have a combination sound happening here, right?
Of course, you got a little fake sound.
Fake, but they've done it right.
Yeah.
Now, if we were to just jump this thing out, put it in comfort, okay, if I have a downside about the M8 Competition, it is set for performance, right? So well, this one actually feels really nice, right? So maybe they've changed the valving. Is this a 24?
It's a 24, yeah.
Okay, so it's slightly softer than the competitions I've had in the past, which I like, right? This car, you can go get groceries, and then when you're going home, nobody's gonna beat you. You can get to your top ramen faster than anybody you've ever seen, right? This thing's awesome.
All right, so you said you've had this car as a company car for a while?
All the time. This
Oh,
is,
yeah.
This is like my go-to is either the M8 Competition. I've now migrated to the Alpina B8, trying the luxury side of things.
So nice.
But there's nothing like sitting in a stoplight and somebody thinking they're going to get the best of you, and you put this thing in launch control, stand on that brake, and let go. Everybody's head gets smashed into the headrest, and it goes like a guided missile. It's unbelievable.
I mean, honestly, people don't realize, but this car can do 0 to 60 in about 2.7, 2.8 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
And it does it over and over, and it does it without, it just barely spins the wheels a little bit, but you never feel out of control on this car.
Here's the best part. If you turn off DSC, which we're not going to do it right now because we're not really allowed to, you can go into two-wheel drive. So you can send the power to the rear wheels.
Oh, then it's drift control,
Right.
Then the thing will just light it up. It becomes, if you decide that's what you want to try to do, you better be in control because it will just send it sideways and it looks like Tokyo Drift everywhere you go. That's almost too much power for two-wheel drive to be proper, right?
So question for you. So if you had a choice between an M5 Competition and an M8, which one would you get as your daily driver?
M8, right? M8 because I think it's a more modern, sleek design, right? There is a group of people who love the M5. It's a little bit boxier, a little bit different look. This for me is a little more super Euro look, sleek. It looks like it wants to go fast when it's sitting parked on the street.
Unless you do the M5 CS.
Oh, that thing is sick. That's not, I mean, yeah, okay. You're in the highest end of BMWs you could ever get, right?
For sure.
With any of them, you can't go wrong, but I just love this thing. Stereo works great. Everything is perfect. The auto drive, I mean, when I go to Vegas, I set it on pretty much auto drive. I just put my fingertip on the wheel and I can sort of just think about other things. And it does, it's like having a second set of eyeballs on the road all the time for you. It's nice.
All right, so tell me, how did your day go on the track? M8 GTLM, E92 M3 GT,
E46,
E46 M3.
Okay, well, I mean,
fun day in the office?
I mean, look, you got to pay me a lot to do this because it's really hard work. It's very challenging.
Someone's got to do it, though.
Oh my, somebody's got to do it. This is more fun than you could ever have in a day. I love a day like this. I got to give rides to people and show them what puts a smile on my face every day. I drive these cars. It's like going in a time warp, and it transports me right back to a race I had here in Homestead in 2010 or 2009, whatever it was. And it's fun. And the people that get out, I mean, we'll talk about it tonight. We have different people that we gave rides to. Yeah. And I guarantee you every one of them is excited when they get out of that car. It is so fun, and it's such a great time. And I always tell you, I'm lucky to have this job because it's better than, you never work a day in your life when you do this, I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. Looks like you had a lot of fun. If you were to pick between the three cars that you raced today, which one would be your favorite?
You know, for me, we wound up putting a brand new set of tires on the E92 M3, and I always said this was a beautiful car to drive, and it is. It's a normally aspirated V8, I think a 4-liter V8, tucked. It's a flat plane crank, motor tucked in the back, transmission in the transaxle in the back, weight distribution like 54% rear, and it is just perfect. It is a perfect car to drive, and it's fun. I would probably pick that here.
So I've heard that you love singing karaoke songs in the car.
Yeah.
Any favorite songs that come to mind as you drive this beautiful BMW M8 with this amazing red interior?
I always leave the music off when I drive. I never sing. Singing, I hate music. This is a new answer, right? No way. You do the karaoke while I drive.
And
we'll see how it works
James
out.
Corden calls you up and says, "Hey, Bill Auberlen, you want to be?"
I'll be like, "Where's Bill? Who?" Look, if I sang right now, you would lose viewers because it would hurt their ears. It would be horrible.
I think that might launch a new career for you, honestly. You know, so
yeah.
So that's a hard pass again.
It is. If we keep trying it, right? I'd be under so much pressure, anyways. That even if I could sing, I'd forget all the words.
Do you have a song that you sing in the shower, like something that you like a tune that?
No. I can't. Nothing comes to mind. It's really
a race driver that doesn't sing, man. I don't know.
Hey, is that camera?
I usually see that
in a different direction.
It is, but it's funny. It's been like that for a while. Yeah.
It did?
Yeah, it doesn't matter because we have this one.
Okay.
That's just we got the first lap that was more important.
Did it get this corner? That was good.
We got that one. I think, but that's kind of when he went down probably because of the wind.
A little speed.
Yeah. Right,
but you see how great this car is. Oh my gosh! You've taken these around a racetrack?
I have. I've been a few times, even in Portugal.
So fun. Oh my God.
All right, Bill. So once again, thanks for your time. Thanks for the input, of course. You know, I wish we could have really pushed this car, but you know, we got to stick with the rules of the track.
You and me both.
But we do have some amazing footage of the M8 GTLM as you're driving the car, so we're gonna put that out, and then I guess I'll see you next time. I'm sure there'll be some more race cars too.
You and I are having too much fun together. Oh my God.
Someone's got to do it.
All I gotta do is hang on your coattails and we're gonna have a great time.
Just don't tell my wife that this is a work day.
This is a work day.
Yeah, no, that's not a work
I mean, we're
day.
both working.
Yeah, exactly. This is definitely a work day. It's not a vacation day.
Oh my God.
Amazing. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one, I guess. Perfect.
Oh my God.
The guy was like, what?
Like, what?